What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Roads We've Traveled podcast. My name is AJ Pelletier. How is everyone doing today? Hope you guys are doing well. You know, I give you guys the same intro every time, but wear your damn masks, okay? Like, I'm being a little bit more aggressive today because I went off on a rant on Facebook today, and I really meant it. Wear your damn masks. Take care of yourselves. Stay the hell away from me. Stay the hell away from each other. You know, granted, Connecticut's doing all right, but the rest of the country isn't, and we want to get better, so... And for those of you that are, you know, nervous about sending your kids back to school, like, we'll get into it in this episode a little bit if we have to, because my man that I'm interviewing today, he posted something that I shared and I totally agree with. But let's get into my guest today, the one and only, the man himself, the legend in the local music scene and the biggest supporter of the local music scene, Mr. Bob Marino of OFNR Studios. How are you, brother?
I am doing fucking awesome, bro. And yeah, I'm not an icon or a legend, dude. I'm just
you're
fan.
a legend in my eyes, man. You're always going to be an icon and a legend in my eyes. So
I'm just a fan that had way too much time in his hands.
Well, it's because of guys like you that the scene had a voice. We had a platform to promote on, to, you know, play our music on, because not a lot of stations were playing local music. And, you know, you did
Which is criminal. It's criminal.
Absolutely
it's criminal. If you're and I, you know, hopefully somebody from FM anywhere who actually plays, you know, any kind of rock music, if you're not paying attention to the local community of musicians here in Connecticut specifically, you are missing out on some of the most incredible, hands down incredible people and musicians I've ever fucking heard ever, period, end of sentence.
Couldn't agree more, man.
There are bands here that, like, your jaw will be on the floor. You'd be like, why are these guys not fucking signed? Fear the Masses, perfect example. Why are they not? Why? Give me one good reason. And it's simply because there's no money in it.
Exactly.
You know? And it's like,
I think we had this talk, like, on a few episodes too, between my buddy John Michael and I think Cody too. Like, we were talking about, like, how it was like to get signed. It's basically a bank loan. You're getting a bank loan to put a record together that the record label owns your music after that, and the only money you make is being out on tour. You know, like, right. you pay for everything yourself.
And so why not as a band? You know, and this is, you know, just a little PSA for young up and coming bands. Instead of going to the label and you want to be an independent band, go and get a personal loan for $20,000, $30,000, like you would for a home, and go out on tour and make sure you're making music and you're hitting all these spots that are big spots. And of course, right now we can't because of COVID.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, then you still own all the rights to your music, and you have the money now to back up your, you know, your thing. The problem is, how do you make sure that you get that $40,000 or $50,000, whatever loan? How do you get that money back? And therein lies a huge problem, I think, not only in Connecticut, but in local music, because there's no money for anybody. None. Zero. The bands aren't making money. A lot of the venues are hardly making any money. And there are guests coming in, and they're paying their dues to get in. But it's just, you know, if you have 3 or 4 bands on a bill and you make $100, how the fuck are you going to... What?
Exactly. And
everybody gets $20.
And a lot of these bigger shows too and tours are all pay to play. You know, even the
absolutely.
Even the bigger name bands pay to play too, like fucking, you know, like Seven Dust or All That Remains. All these big ass festivals, they pay money to be on that show.
Right. Well, it's an investment in their brand, and it's an investment in saying, okay, I want to do this, and I don't want to have to go to a middleman necessarily and give away all my rights to my writing and publishing. So I'll just go out and get a personal loan, or even, you know, if you had a house, remortgage a house or whatever. And it's not always as easy as it sounds, but it is an option. And I think more musicians, as we're going now, should look at that option as, you don't need a record label. You just need the money from a record label. You need their backing and their support of getting the music out. Well, how do you do that? There's so many other ways now, especially in 2020, for a musician to get their music heard. There's so many avenues, you know, too many,
way too many.
And now it's saturated, and now nobody wants to hear shit. It's all disposable.
Exactly.
We rent our music.
It's just
that
like
makes me so sad, bro.
It's just like podcasts too. Like, literally, this podcast is in a sea of billions of other podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I do absolutely know what you mean, because when I shut down F&R radio, everybody's like, oh, you should podcast, you should podcast, you should podcast. And I go, well, what makes my podcast any different than anybody else's, besides the fact that I would continue to focus on the local scene, that wasn't getting me anywhere. Dude, the reality of the situation, and nobody wants to hear this, is a lot of the independent bands, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck enough about themselves. I would do a show with a band and they wouldn't promote the fucking show at all, ever. Not one member of the band promoted the show, and I'm not going to name names because I'm not like that. But dude, that's the reality. They didn't promote it not one time on nothing. So how do you expect to gain listeners and fans? And no, that's not how it works. You know, you got to be fucking hardcore, man. You got to be going to shows. You should have one member of your band go to a show every fucking weekend and make friends and make connections, because you know what? That's how they're going to make their music heard more. And that's how they're going to make a better scene. That's it. That's the secret. Anybody wants the secret to making a scene, go out and support one another. Bands should have at least one member.
You got to be the scene.
You got to be the scene.
You got to be the scene.
Fucking Dunbar from Big Bar Radio used to say that shit all the time. He's right. Shout outs to Dunbar.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get into more of that too when we talk about OFNR. But let's get into the nitty gritty here. How are you and the family doing during this quarantine?
You know what, man? I'll really be honest.
I should say pandemic now, but
not much changed for us. You know, I really wasn't going out all that often because I got burned out. You know, that's the reality. And so I was here a lot more often than I was when OFNR was running. So I go to work, I come home, I go to work, I come home. It's the same shit, you know? When the state lockdown, I was fortunate enough I'm a web designer. That's what I do for a living. And I do product photography for my job. And we were done with all our product photography, and we were had been working on since December, a brand new website. So I'm like, well, I can code a website at home. I'll get up the same time, I'll clock in and I'll code, and I'll have something to, you know, show you when it's all said and done. Dude, it worked out great. And then when the lift came up, it's like, well, I'm done with that project. And now there is all these new products to take pictures of. So I should go there. And the cool thing is we don't deal with the customers. We're not a front facing corporation. You know, we're a warehouse. I go into my office and I lock my door and nobody can come in.
Nice.
Like, it's just me in my one office, you know? So it's like, that's it. That's all I do. And, you know, I'm fortunate in that regard. And so I've been trying to, you know, when I see projects and things, it's like, oh, here's a couple bucks here and here's a couple bucks there, so that these places and people are supported still, because it's really hard right now. And if you're out there and you have a little extra, throw it to the places that you love. Throw it to Cherry Street. Throw it to Cook's Cafe. Throw it to your Patreon if you have one. Throw it to Alternative Control. Throw it to Bull Spike Radio. Whoever you were supporting, you should still be supporting in other ways. Find new avenues, because a lot of these people, they don't have jobs. They're out of work, man. Yeah. And now unemployment is done, and it's like there's no extra. You get your unemployment, but you're not getting any extra. So it's like, how are we all supposed to live? So I feel for these people that are out of work and struggling, and it's all because of ignorant, selfish Americans. End of discussion. This isn't a political discussion. Ignorant, selfish Americans are going to fuck it up for everybody.
Plain and simple.
It's not hard.
Yeah. I mean, we could have been over this by now.
We could have been done already.
We could have been done. Like, plain and simple. But like you said, ignorant Americans, you know, like
ignorant, selfish Americans.
Yeah. Like for instance, that article I saw the other day, it was a woman, something with Starbucks, like they refused to sell to her because she would not wear a mask when she came in, and now she's saying like, oh, I deserve that 100,000 that like fucking he's like, go fuck yourself. Like, absolutely not. Like, you know,
you making a spectacle of yourself
just as much as like, you know, what was that sign I saw? It was like, you know, restaurants have the right to, you know, no shirt, no shoes, no service. You know what I mean? They have the right to refuse customers and say that
for any reason. Discriminatory reasons, obviously.
Exactly.
There's laws.
Exactly.
But they can just be like, you know what, you're wearing a black hat, no black hats in today. I mean, they really could say that. That's their prerogative. It's private property.
Exactly. And, you know, for businesses to say like, hey, you can't be in here without a mask on, and for people to flip the fuck out, well, they have a right to say that. They have full full right to say that. And if you're going to come in there with your mask like hanging beneath your your nose, which pisses me off. I got a guy at my part-time job who like he knows he has to wear a mask when he comes in. You know what I mean? He comes in one time without it on, and my boss was like, just come in anyway. And I'm looking at my boss like, what the fuck, man? So like I gotta wear a mask. You know what I mean? Like, and then like the next time he comes in, he has it fucking dangling off his ear. And I'm like, is it that fucking hard for 5 minutes, when you come in to pick up what you need, to just wear the damn thing? You know what I mean?
When you leave, you take it off.
You take it off.
How difficult, and what it is, it's selfish, ignorant Americans. We'll just keep saying it. That's what you should name this podcast. This episode.
Maybe we'll do like a when I set up my Patreon, we'll special episodes or something.
It really is. That's what it comes down to, man. And you know what's really fucked up about the whole thing, dude? If you go back to the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, it's the exact same fucking shit. Wear a mask. Stay 6 feet apart. There was a whole anti-mask league that they made in San Diego that were against the mask, and they weren't. It's 101 years have gone, and we cannot figure this the fuck out. Why?
Because freedom, America.
America.
My civil rights are at risk right now because they're telling me to wear a mask. Get the fuck out of here! Like seriously.
Meanwhile, like you should want to wear a mask because now the facial recognition can't recognize you in the mask, so you should start wearing a mask.
Right.
Anything to do to get these people that are like, I don't want to wear a mask, anything to do that we can do, like we'll just come up with like reverse psychology. You have a big dick if you wear a mask. You have the biggest of dicks if you wear a mask.
And like that shit that, what was it? Someone, when they were like saying like, oh, you should wear your mask to protect others. Like that shouldn't have been said to begin with. It should have been like, you should wear a mask to protect yourself. And then maybe people would have listened more instead of like, oh, well, why should I wear a mask to protect this person next to me? Like, fuck him. I don't know him. You know what I mean? Like that whole, it's so selfish. Yes.
Americans.
It should be a ringtone or something.
I'm saying.
And the whole world laughs at us. The whole world has it under control now. I mean, like, look at, what was it, New Zealand? They went in quarantine for 4 weeks. They listened to their government, went into quarantine, did everything they were told. There's absolutely no COVID now in that country. And they're all back to work. Look,
populace is different and numbers are different. We can't compare small places like that to America.
True.
However, had we a single solitary fuck to give and actually somehow, some way put everything else aside and actually get on the same page, if we could have done that, we would not be in the situation we're in now.
Exactly.
But you know what? Those folks in Texas, originally when it was happening here, oh, we ain't got no COVID here. We ain't going to put on our masks, and we ain't going to social distance. We're going to go to the bars and whatever. And man, look where we are at. 41 states currently. What?
Look at Florida. Florida's the worst.
Dude.
Florida's the worst.
And again, it comes down to they want, look, I get it. It's summer, man. I've gone out. I've gone out, but I haven't gone anywhere where there's people. I go hiking on trails where there's nobody.
Same here.
I go disc golfing. Nobody fucking disc golfs but me and my buddies. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't see a soul, But we're out there the whole day, like 6 feet apart from each other. We're, keeping our distance from each other. Why is this so difficult? Yeah. Selfish, ignorant Americans. That's what it comes down to. We can talk about that all day.
Wear your damn masks. Wash your fucking hands.
Wash your hands. Why did we have to have a conversation about that?
Like, it's just, I'm so over it. All right.
Simple shit.
That's our rant about the pandemic. Okay. So we met through mutual friends, Dom and Lurch from the Lurch and Dom live broadcast.
That is true.
DIU TV. I remember that, which is no longer a thing, but I know Dom is doing, his thing on escape rooms now, which is really cool.
And Lurch did the karaoke stuff too.
Yeah, he still does that. God, that was so long ago. I actually have an old T-shirt, the Lurch and Dom live broadcast hanging on my wall.
Dude.
So,
well, see, anytime they were on, I would watch, and then you started being a regular there, and it's like, that's cool that they have somebody from the scene. I think that's important. I always thought that was important, and I did that a lot too. Try to bring people from the scene to come do a show, because like
Yeah.
they have different views and they're gonna have different people that they can reach, and so I think it's cool. But yeah, that was a lot of fun going there, just because those guys they're hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, you know,
Fucking with Lurch was like the thing.
I feel bad now, like years later.
Dude,
You know what I mean? Like,
I like
I know,
untag myself.
I know, and I'm like, I gotta start deleting half of these because, like, you know, the guy's like becoming a pastor now. You know what I mean? He got like
you should
super
probably
religious.
get rid of some of that. Stuff.
Yeah, like every time I see one, I'm like, oh, like why? You know what I mean? But like, you know, that
but,
was,
you know, back then
like
it was
10
funny,
years ago. You know, like it was a long time ago. I was dumb and stupid.
It was different.
Yeah, exactly. Different times.
Times were different. Times were changing, and you know what? We have to evolve and recognize. And I think it's important that you say, you know what? That was probably pretty fucked up of me to do that. Then I should get rid of that, and it makes you, you know, a better person.
Exactly. I mean, like
just being a stagnant person.
I haven't talked to Lurch in a long time, but I think
me neither.
The last time I did talk to him was when a mutual friend of ours died last year. Yeah, thanks. He was actually one of my best friends. He committed suicide last year, and I reached out to him because he was up in Massachusetts, I think. For school and stuff. I'm like, hey, like, I'm just letting you know, our, you know, so and so passed away, and this is what happened. And he got back to me. I think he said like, oh, thanks for letting me know, blah blah. And then he made like a really nice post, like, you know, saying like, even if you lose touch with friends over the years, you should still make it a point to like reach out and just check in on your friends.
Yeah, every now and again you reach out
and like I should be better about that too myself. And it sucks that I had to reach out to him when I haven't seen him in years. You know what I mean? And say that, but like
something so shitty too. Yeah.
Exactly, you know, and I felt really bad about it. But like back in the day, like him and I used to go out like drinking all the time. You know what I mean? Like Lurch was a different guy back then. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, man, dude. But I tell you. One of my all-time favorite memories of hanging out with that dude was I was very fortunate. He brought me up to NEFW, New England Frontier Wrestling, and we got to hang out that whole day and videotape and stuff for the DIU show.
Yeah.
And dude, I got to meet Marty Jannetty and hold the Intercontinental title. Like, you know, I got to meet AR Fox, who is such an underrated wrestler.
Yeah, I've seen his stuff.
Oh my God, head blowing. Thomas from Lightsbane let me know about AR Fox, and I was like, "Who's this?" And like, I met him and I saw him wrestle in person, and this dude isn't. Why is this guy signed? But you know, hanging out with those guys and doing the show was always a good time, and it's cool that that's how we met. You know,
and then we just, you know, started a friendship from there. So shout out to Dom and Lurch, you know, for you know, not only getting me into like entertainment, you know what I mean? Like we did our little internet show every Sunday night, which was a lot of fun, but then it got me into doing podcasting with the league and then now to this, you know what I mean? And then I got to meet people like you. And especially when I first was getting into the scene, like, you know, the Lurch and Dom live broadcast were big supporters of In the Red. And then I met you, and then you were a big supporter of In the Red, you know, it's just,
I actually have pictures of your first show, your show at Diamond Lil's when you guys released the CD.
That was a bad show.
I think I might have audio of that too.
We did 2 CD release parties. We did one around my neck of the woods at Diamond Lil's, which was it was not a good turnout. And then and then we went out to All Stars, which was a better turnout.
Right. But yeah, Waterbury's probably not the place to do it.
Yeah, you know, like I was just trying to see, like,
yeah,
you know,
well, sure.
You got to try. You know what I mean? You got to, you know, see where people are going to come out and support, and you know,
try to expand.
Exactly.
You know, where you're, you know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, besides all that and, you know, everything else, like I really don't know a lot about you other than the fact that you went to school for law and you got your law degree, and then you went into, you know, Connecticut School of Broadcasting and got your degree in that. But I mean, what was growing up like? What was your childhood like?
I had a pretty weird childhood, actually, because my parents, my mother and stepfather were both in the Air Force. And so we moved around a fuck ton. Okay, so I was born in a place called Grand Forks, North Dakota. And for those of you who don't know where the fuck North Dakota is, if you go to the very, very top of America, right before you hit Canada, probably about the middle of the country, right above South Dakota, is North Dakota. And there's not a whole lot out in North Dakota, but most of my family, my mom's side, they all still live out there. So like my aunt still lives in Bismarck, you know, and my cousin, they live in Bismarck. And so that's where I was born, but I only lived there for 6 months, and then we moved to Idaho, and then we moved to Germany, and I lived in Germany for a couple of years. Like, I was a kid, I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
I was less than 5, you know. Then we moved to New York, and I went to, you know, kindergarten there, and then we moved to Connecticut because my parents were thinking about having my sister, and they didn't want to live in New York and try to raise a kid in New York, and, like, you know, it was a bad situation because it was my brother, myself, and then they were thinking about my sister. So we moved to Connecticut and Danbury, and they still live there. And so, yeah, we moved around a fuck ton. Again, I don't remember a whole lot of it. My mom has pictures, thankfully, so I can see some of the places that we lived. I do remember certain things, like there was an old cartoon that we used to watch in German. You can find it on YouTube actually still. It's called Piggledy and Frederick. And it's about these two pigs. And one pig was a little pig and one pig was a big pig. And so my mom was always like, well, which one are you, Piggledy or Frederick? You know, because if you want something to eat, you're probably a Frederick, you know? And it's just
how is the German for that show? You know,
dude, it's crazy. Look it up on YouTube when you have a second.
I'll have to, because I mean, like, I have nothing against like Germans or anything, but like their language is like so
harsh.
Harsh.
It's very harsh language. But you know, and I only remember that really because my mom made the reference all the time to us as kids. Oh, little Piggledy, you know, whatever. And I don't know I still watch them. I don't know what the fuck idea what they're talking about. It was just two pigs. So, you know, it was interesting to live that way. And I'm sort of glad I don't really remember it, because my childhood really started in Danbury. I was 8 when we moved to Danbury. And from there I met like some kids in the neighborhood, you know, the Woosters, they were up the road. And then, you know, like we could walk to each other's house. We could bike ride to each other's house. It was a different time when I grew up in the 80s. Yeah. I was born in 79, you know? So it was just different, man. We would take our bikes and go ride all over the fucking place. And as long as we were home before the lights came on the streets, we were good. You know, as long as, you know, I didn't tell my mom where I was going. I didn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to Reading, and then I'm going to go to here. And then I'm going to Billy's, and then we'd go from there to wherever, you know? So yeah, it was a cool childhood. I mean, it was fun. You know, there's a lot of bullshit too, though. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, everybody has that.
Oh, what kind of bullshit did you have to?
Well, I mean, you know, just knowing that, like, I have a stepfather, so I've never met my father, my biological father. I've never met him. He could walk past me on the street. I would have no fucking idea. So it made it very interesting growing up, you know, because you're not sure what the fuck, you know, because here in America, for some fucked up reason, you got to know your heritage, your lineage. It's very important. And it's hard to not know that whole half.
Well, now you could spit in a tube and send it out. You know what I mean?
And believe you me, I've thought very long and hard about whether or not that's something I should even consider.
But then they'll keep it your DNA though, and they'll clone you for it later on.
I don't care so much about that. It's about the knowledge. Do I really want
I know.
You know, it's a very fucked up thing, bro. When you don't really know, you know, family is a different word for me. You know, it means something way different. You know, like I consider Stagger my family. You know, it's like, because like they're close, you know, people to me. Family's not blood necessarily, because
exactly,
you know, I have that issue of not knowing. I just don't know, and it's not. I'm 41 now. Sure, I could go and reach out, but why? What do I need to know? None of that had anything to do with who I am now today. You know, in the sense that, like, for 41 years it didn't matter. It shouldn't really matter now, but it is a battle, bro. It's a big battle to try to, like, fuck with that, you know, and keep that, like, fuck.
Well, I mean, you still got time too if you ever want to down the road. But I get what you mean, though. You know, like,
it's not an easy decision, and you have to be very fucking careful, because my stepfather is a great man. You know, he took care of us just like he was our dad. That's my dad. Like that's it. And so I don't want to ever disrespect him in a sense of, like, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't think it would be disrespectful.
Oh, but you don't understand.
Oh, have you already had this conversation?
Oh yes, my friend.
Okay.
For 41 years. I mean, this is not this is an ongoing thing, and it's it's difficult. It's difficult to manage, because you don't ever want to cross that line. I'm getting to the point of I no longer really give a fuck, which is bad, because when I don't give a fuck, like I really don't give, like it has nothing to do with, it has to do with me and my well-being, my health. So then it should be that's the most important. Yeah. Like I can't think about what the fuck anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, like,
what are you gonna do, ground me?
I mean, coming
yes!
coming from like an outside perspective, though, I mean, I wouldn't see anything wrong with just being curious and like finding out your lineage.
Oh no,
but also acknowledging what you already have at the same time. Like, okay, this guy's not my dad. You know what I mean? Because he hasn't been in my life at all. This guy is my dad. But it's cool to know that here's my history. You know what I mean? Sure. You know what I mean? Just to have that kind of knowledge, you know.
And I have had some conversations, mostly with my uncle. And for some reason, we just seem to click a little better. And so it's easier for me to talk to him. And we've had phone conversations, and like, it's awkward as fuck. Because here's somebody, this is a perfect stranger to me. And we're having these weird existential fucking conversations.
This is your real dad's brother, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Which is, it's strange because like he looks exactly like my brother. Like they could be twins. It's so fucking crazy. But so at any rate, I mean, look, you know, I'm not on here fucking whining, but it was hard, you know, and it's still difficult to this day to manage that. And so I don't give a fuck so much. When you get out of America, if you go to Europe, they don't talk about their lineage. That you wouldn't find a European unless they came from Italy. They would never say, "Oh, I'm Italian." They'd say, "Oh, I'm European." This is the only country that we do that shit. "Oh, I'm Italian." If any Italian who didn't come from the boat or like went back to Italy was like, "I'm Italian." No, you're American, dumbass. Like, you know.
Well, that's the thing about this country, though, is that we've had so many people come from all over.
Oh, it's a melting pot,
like,
bro.
It is.
And so, you know, and then being who I am, I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. I'm a self-professed nerd.
Hell yeah.
Dude, being that way, I'm not athletic. I fucking hate sports. I hate professional sports. I think they should all be canceled. Every last one of them. And take all that money and give it to the people that fucking are doing something, like doctors and teachers and what they don't worry. We can't sponsor a teacher.
I feel like they shouldn't be making more than what, you know, doctors and teachers are making.
A fucking professional football player makes $2.6 million on average,
which is insane. It's absolutely
insane. A firefighter makes $46,000 on average.
Mm-hmm.
The firefighter actually runs into buildings when they're on fire.
Mm.
The guy who's playing sports is throwing and catching a football. Yeah, look, concussions, and they're doing things that not very many people can do at that level. Sure, I get all that. $2.5 million on average, for a game, and I don't think it's just that, dude. I think I go to Hollywood. I think they're making way too much. Dude,
I mean, look at the amount of money that
$1 million an episode.
Look at the amount of money Robert Downey Jr. made for Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. It was something ridiculous.
He doesn't need to make another red cent ever in his life, and he would not be at all in danger.
Granted, he cleaned up his shit, and he's actually a really nice person. Does a lot for charity, no question. But that is a lot of money, like a lot of money.
It's a ridiculous amount of money, and I really don't understand why we prioritize our heroes that way, and I'm guilty of it too. Because we idolize these celebrities, and we love to go watch movies, and that's why everybody's so pissed off right now, is because all their entertainment is dried up. Yep. And so all pissed off because there's nothing to fucking do. And so
wear your damn mask and wash your fucking hands.
And so, like,
selfish, ignorant Americans.
I think we've got it fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I think somewhere along the line we've got it fucked up, and I wonder, why is there so much money in sports? Why? What is the reasoning? And if we can figure that out, maybe we could figure out how to fund places like schools that really need funding to make sure that our next generation is smarter than we are, not dumber than we are.
I blame
they need to be smarter than we are.
Social media.
They need to question every fucking thing.
Social media was the worst possible fucking thing to present. Like, I don't think we as a human race were ready for the internet, and we're still not. ready for the internet, like at all. It's just become this huge fucking clusterfuck thing that nobody knows how to directly navigate through. And then social media came in and just exploded. Now everyone feels like they're entitled, and everyone's
They are.
You
They
know?
are entitled. They're entitled to post their little thing on their little page, and we're all guilty of it, bro. I'm guilty of it too, bro.
I will agree. I am too. But when you realize,
and it's shit, dude. It has made conversations, difficult conversations, such as religion, such as politics, it has made those conversations impossible to have.
Exactly.
And that's fucking shit. You should be able to have a calm, cool, collected conversation about any subject as long as you're educated about it. And that's the problem. Most people aren't educated about what they're fucking talking about. They just say whatever the fuck they've heard.
Yeah, or they'll just look at the headlines and not even read the articles.
That happens all the time. And, you know, and you're right, dude. I agree. Social networking, there's nothing social about it. There's nothing social about it.
Look how many likes I have. Yeah.
It's become a cesspool, dude. I don't even like being on it.
I hate being on it too, but I got to promote. You know what I mean? Like,
hey man, that's why I was on it for so long. Yep. And of course, I still run OFNR Studios, so you know I'm still doing stuff. I'm still working on websites. I'm still making flyers. I'm still making videos. You know, so I have to promote, and I don't do a whole lot of it because I'm not currently working on anything in particular. You know, I use OFNR Studios to share memes and funny shit because that's a way to get likes too. That's a way to get engagement too.
Yep.
You know, I try to stay away from politics on OFNR because that's where, you know, I'm political, sure, but my company isn't. You know, my brand isn't necessarily. You know.
Yeah, I get it. So why don't we get back a little bit? Let's. You're talking about growing up. Do you suffer from any mental illness or depression, anxiety, anything like that?
I've never been diagnosed as such, no. But again, growing up a geek and a nerd, and having an older brother who would beat on me, having external people beat on me, you know, just for being a nerd and a geek, and I loved reading and I loved learning, and I was a sensitive kid, and that was bad, dude. That's not manly. Crying is not allowed. That is not manly. Stop being such a little bitch. And that's the way it was. And it's just that way. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can say it's a cliched fucking word, and it's dude, that is toxic masculinity at its very finest. And it's true. It is an absolute truth. I hate getting my fucking hands dirty, dude. I fucking hate it. I do not work on my car. I bring it to a mechanic. I don't like getting my hands dirty. That's not manly. That's stupid. That's what makes me a man? Wanting to work on my car, wanting to go hunting and fishing. I love fishing, don't get me wrong. And now especially my 10-year-old has been asking me to go fishing all the time. So it's like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go fishing. But, you know, like, I think it's really fucked up that we teach our sons that it's not okay to be emotional, that it's not okay to be sensitive, that it's not okay to be empathetic. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, go ahead.
I don't know, man. You know, it's a hard chain to break, man. And I'm even guilty of it too. I have 2 sons. And when they cry, it doesn't make me like, shut up, you're a pussy. It makes me mental. Like I get crazy because it's like PTSD. It's like fucking, oh fuck, I'm back in that space again. Like what the fuck, you know? Like, you know, it's only now starting to become acceptable that we can talk about our fucking feelings and actually be emotional and actually be sensitive. Like, well, now it's
yeah, because I mean, like back in the day, it was like if you had any mental illness or whatsoever, you know, people thought you were crazy. You know what I mean? Like nobody wanted to talk to you. And like whether you were depressed or tortured or tormented or whatever, like nobody wanted to talk about it. And like people like my father, for instance, he grew up in an abusive household. He was beaten by his alcoholic father on a daily basis. Him and his brothers and his sisters and his mother, they all got beat all the time. You know, until finally one day my dad, when he was 16, he beat the shit out of my grandfather. Like said, you're never going to touch me or anybody else ever again. But my dad, like he kept all that shit buried deep inside, and it came out in unhealthy ways throughout the years. You know, granted, like he was never an alcoholic, thank God. But he just never trusted people. You know what I mean?
Dude, and anger is a motherfucker.
Yeah, it is.
Anger is a motherfucker, dude. And I carry a whole lot of anger about a whole lot of different things. And it's really hard to let that shit go. But, it's also one of those things you have to recognize. And it's fucking so incredibly difficult to stop for a second and look at yourself in a real way and say, wait a fucking second.
Yep.
I am not well. There is something. If you were bleeding, you would say, fuck, I'm bleeding and I need a doctor. Well, we can't see our brains and we can't see that shit. But sometimes you're not well and you need to go see somebody. And it's not fucking wrong to go see somebody.
Exactly.
For the longest time, you're right, bro. You went to the shrink. What a little, again, what a little bitch. You can't even deal with your own emotions. Like, what? No, This is so foolish, so dumb, and such bravado. We are men.
Yeah, I can't stand that shit. I mean, like I've said it before. Like back in 2018, I went through a lot of bullshit with family and my ex, and a lot of shit was just happening all at once that I was emotionally and mentally checked out and didn't even realize it. I was planning on killing myself and I didn't even realize it. And when I realized I was like, okay, I need help, like right fucking now. So I was calling up therapists left and right, like, anybody have any openings? Like, I'm afraid I'm going to hurt myself. Like, somebody help me. And finally I got in somewhere and I was in therapy like twice a week for over a year. And, if I didn't do that, I don't know if I'd still be here right now doing this podcast.
Yeah, right.
Like,
and again, like,
it's okay. It's okay to admit that you need help. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's okay to say, fuck, I'm unwell and I need somebody who can help me get through this. And being unwell doesn't necessarily mean, you're clinically depressed, but you could have tragedy and not get through it and need somebody to fucking go to. Even if you have people that are around you, sometimes it's really hard to go to somebody else and say, I have a problem, I need help.
Yep.
It's really hard,
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, granted, I was having a problem with alcohol for a while, and I feel like I've gotten it under control now, especially the last couple of weeks, because I'm not drinking during the week anymore. Like, I save my drinking for maybe one time a week now, and mainly because like I'm working out again. Like I want to lose weight, so drinking every day is not going to help. So, you know what I mean? But like, but alcoholism also runs in my family. So
right,
like,
you got to be careful, bro.
I got to be careful with that. I don't want to be a raging alcoholic like my grandfather was.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that. And realizing I had a problem, I was like, okay, you got to stop, or you got to cut back, or just don't do it anymore. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to mentally keep doing. And like, I'm forcing myself to get out and get exercise. Like, I went for a hike the other day for the first time in God knows how long. I've been going running like a couple times during the week now. I've been working out at home and I feel fucking great. I feel great.
Yeah.
Great. Like little shit like that helps so much. And
it will make a difference both physically and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you'll just feel better even if you just went and walked outside and did like a couple laps around the neighborhood, or whatever, or went to a track or whatever and just walked, even if you just walked.
Yeah, just being out in the sun, regardless.
Right.
Like, it's good for your health,
Wear your fucking mask, wash your fucking hands.
Selfish, ignorant Americans.
Right.
That's going to be the title of this episode.
I'm telling you. But, I mean, what were we talking about?
We're talking about mental illness.
Yeah. And I'm glad we're starting to at least realize and recognize the fact that this is a real thing. I wish it was sooner. You know what I mean? There's definitely at some point in my life I'll have to make it a point to get my little ass to get all this fucking nonsense out of my head once and for all. But a lot of it drives me to do better, to be better, to break that chain, to stop that shit from happening to the next generation. And that's why everybody's like, oh, this generation is little pussies. They're bitches. They're offended by everything. Yeah, they are. You know why? Because we actually have the ability to talk about our emotions and talk about, you know what? That hurts when you say that word. It fucking sucks. I'm not saying we should cancel everything. And I'm not saying we should be like so sensitive. But yeah, some of these things, maybe we shouldn't call gays the F word anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe that was wrong all those years ago in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? It's about evolving,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
being better people than we were yesterday.
Being progressive.
And if it means fucking taking Aunt Jemima off the fucking syrup bottle, I'm okay with that. I don't see the harm.
Yeah.
Who cares? We're talking about history of what? Of a fucking syrup bottle. God damn it. I buy the fucking no-name brand anyway.
Taking down
what
Christopher.
What are you doing, Aunt Jemima?
Taking down Christopher Columbus statues everywhere and put them in museums where they belong. You know.
Absolutely, and it goes right back to what I was saying earlier on the show, man. America's a fucking weird place. This is the only country where if you go when you go somewhere and you see American flags every fucking where. You go outside of this country, you'll see their flag above the Capitol buildings, above the political buildings, and that's it. The citizens aren't flying the flag. This is the only country where we do that. This is it. This is the only one. It's insanity, dude. It's crazy. I'm not saying fuck the flag. I'm just saying it's crazy that we're so America. We're number one. Yeah, coronavirus. That's what we're number one in.
Yes.
And fucking incarcerating our own citizens. Fucking, it's crazy, bro. We need to evolve. Yeah. And some of this shit, yeah, it sounds like really dumb shit. But some of it, maybe we'll actually make a fucking actual change for once. Maybe. I'm not holding my breath, bro. You know? Tipping Point came out from Fear to Masses. That song was written 6 fucking years ago.
Yep.
Nothing has changed. Nothing. And now all of a sudden people are like, well, it's starting to change. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
You know? When
I feel like the wheel is cracking, but it's not broken.
It's cracking, but it's gonna take more.
Yep.
It's gonna take more because there are people in opposition of this because they don't like change. They don't want to evolve. They like the way it used to be. Well, that was what made our president make it a great again.
Yeah. Well, we need. I think one of my friends left a comment on my status today. It was like, we need to make empathy and compassion great again.
Absolutely. You know, and I don't know that it was ever great. I don't know that it was ever, but we need to make it great now because that's what's going to get us through this. That's what's going to get us through the pandemic. That's what's going to make us better Americans. That's what's going to make us better people.
Mm-hmm.
Stop being selfish and stop being ignorant. It's not enough to just be about yourself.
Exactly.
It's just not enough.
It's not about yourself. It's about everyone. And we're all in this together. We're all on this fucking asteroid spinning the fucking sun together. You know what I mean? We're all going to fucking live together. We're all going to fucking die together. You know what I mean? Whether or not we die tomorrow or hundreds of years from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I don't, you know.
But this is
not to bring everybody down.
No, we're being real. We're being fucking real.
If you need help ever out there, you're listening and you need help, call the hotline.
Reach out.
Reach out to somebody, anybody. There are people out there willing to listen to you. Reach out to me, 203-794-6367.
You really want this on the podcast?
Dude, that's OFNR's number.
Oh, okay.
It's OFNR's hotline.
I thought it was your personal
OFNR.
I'll put it in the link below. I thought that was your personal.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, if somebody you're feeling down and you're feeling blue and you're gonna hurt yourself and you need help right away, yeah, fuck yeah, I'd give out my personal number. Fuck yeah, I would. Because you know what, man, we need to be able to help anyone that's out there that's
you're right.
Hurt themselves, do something.
I'm not gonna hand out
so many great musicians, Chris Cornell, fucking the
Chester Bennington.
Chester, dude, Dolores from the Cranberries, we've lost so many. It's like listening to the fucking Graveyard when you're listening to Lithium on XM on a 90s show. They're all gone. And if it means that we can help somebody, then yeah, we should be empathetic and say, you know what? Fuck yeah. Let that person say, yeah, you know what? I put my fucking mask on for you. I'm going to help. And stop all this insanity.
Yeah. I mean, stupid. I'm not going to hand out my personal number, but that's why the show has an email address, roadstotravelpodcast@gmail.com. You guys got stories or like Knob said here, you want to vent or you want to talk, like we're here for you. That's why the show exists. So But yeah, man, no, this is a fucking great conversation, man. I really wanted to get you on here, and I'm glad that you said yes to being on
Oh
this.
yeah, definitely, man. Well, of course, we've,
Yeah,
like you said, we've gone way, way back. I mean, we're talking probably 10 years now, at
I
least.
know. God, it's been a while.
You think
Yeah.
about it. And so anyway, so to go back after all this wild tangent, so I went to school at Danbury High, graduated in 97, went to Western Connecticut State for law.
I was just gonna
And
ask, like, you went in for law and got your degree.
yeah, I went in for what's called Justice and Law Administration. And basically what that's about is one half about civics and justice and how it all works in the law. And the other half is really about being an administrator and having the wherewithal to be fastidious about filing and putting things in the right spots and understanding the administrative part of it, the business part of it. You know what I mean? So when I graduated, that's what I got. I got a Bachelor's of Science in Justice and Law Administration. I loved college. I hated high school because I wasn't popular. I wasn't I was picked on. But college, I excelled because I was with other people who were like-minded, wanting to learn, hungry for knowledge. So I actually wound up graduating college with honors, and I was part of the National Criminal Justice Honor Society.
Nice.
And then from there, obviously, the next logical step was law school. I took a year off, worked, and then in 2002, moved to Massachusetts to go to Massachusetts School of Law. And dude, let me tell you, law school is the craziest shit I've ever fucking done. You would go to class, and if you didn't prepare, if you didn't read the cases for the day, the teacher would hum fucking erasers at you. Like the big erasers from fucking hum them at you. I mean, like you get hit by that, you're gonna be like, oh motherfucker, what? Or he'd be like, let's talk about the case. And you're like, he's like, get the fuck out. Get out right now. Because you can't do that shit in court, No. You gotta be prepared, And so they were teaching us, bro. And so we started off at, let's say, 100 kids. I don't know the number, but like by the time the end of the first year, dude, half the kids were gone. They couldn't deal. Like, it was serious, It was the craziest 3 years of my life. And I'm glad I did it. But I ultimately learned that I really didn't want to become a lawyer. And I looked at that lifestyle, and I was like, that's really not for me. It's not fun. It's not creative. It's, for me.
Yeah.
So in 2005, I was working for a law office, and he happened to have a firm in Mass and here and in Connecticut. And he was like, hey, we kind of need a head title examiner, which is a guy who goes and checks property, make sure there's no liens on it before it gets sold. We need a head title examiner in our Connecticut office. You're currently our head title examiner in Massachusetts. We know you're from Connecticut. Do you want to go home? And I'm like, well, I kind of just signed a lease. Oh, yeah, well, we'll take care of all that. Don't worry about that. Do you want to go back? And it's like, oh, yeah. Like, sure. Fuck yeah. So I moved back here to Connecticut in Waterbury. And that same year, I was still burnt from kicking my ass in law school. I needed a creative outlet. And I'm like, I really kind of want to be a radio DJ. Like I did that in college. I was a music director for 91.7 FM WXCI for a year and a half, which was, dude, we'll get back to that. Remind me to get back to that because I have some fucking crazy stories. So, I was like, I need something creative. And I heard the commercial, and I was like, that's a really good idea. And I went up there, and they totally fucking hook, line, and sinker. Like, they got me hooked. Like, oh, yeah, I want to go do this. And so,
we're talking Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Yeah, so I decided, all right, I'm going to do this. And ultimately, it was much like all my other education. It was a really great experience, but it didn't really lead to a job. But Connecticut School of Broadcasting did lead to OFNR, and that's way better. You know what I mean? The first day of Connecticut School of Broadcasting, I was sat next to this dude named Aaron Howard, and we had to do an assignment where I had to interview him, and he had to interview me, and we had to, at the end, like, go up to the thing and present. Like, this is Aaron, and he likes long walks on the beach or whatever. And we just clicked. And just started hanging out outside of school and inside of school. And, like, every chance we could get, we would do radio shows at the school because they had setups where you could like be, you know, here and I'm here and you're there's a glass divider and you're in that room, you know, and we could do radio shows. And so we did that for a little while. And then, you know, CSB, Connecticut School of Broadcasting, it's quick, you know, you get your degree in 6 months or not 6 years, you know? So by October, November, whatever it was, we were pretty much done. And Aaron and I had been hanging out. And we had come up with this stupid fucking idea to make an Adam Sandler-esque CD where you'd have these skits. And we called it the Neil and Bob Show. And I knew a place that was doing basically what I wound up doing myself, running a live 365 station. And I was thinking about doing that anyway. So we brought our thing up there. I went all the way up there, and they were closed. They closed down. They got whatever. Something happened. And so we were like, fuck, now what? I went to work that day, and my boss is like, well, how'd it go? I'm like, well, they're gone, but I know how to do it. I just need $20 to get it started. He reaches in his wallet, and he goes, here's $20. Go get it started. I was like, huh? What? So I called Aaron that night, and I'm like, dude, we got the $20. Like, let's. And that's, you know, the rest writes itself. 2006, September 2006, we launched OFNR, or F and Radio, I guess at the time, with the Neil and Bob Show. And that show was fucking insane. We would start the show sober, and by the end of the show, be completely hammered. And there was one night I tried to crush a beer can on my head.
Oh.
I have the audio of this. It's amazing.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, 3, 2, 1, boom, and I knock myself out.
Oh, God.
Live on the air. And they're laughing hysterically, they're pissing their pants, like, oh, look, knobs on the floor, oh, that's fucking stupid, you know. And I'm so glad that it worked out that way. And all the while I was in CSB, Connecticut School of Broadcasting, I was also studying for the bar exam. And so I took the bar exam, and I missed it by one question.
Oh.
And I was like, you know, that was a 16-hour test. Like, I don't really want to do that again. And I'm not really looking to be a lawyer. Like, I don't, the law is fucked, man. The system is corrupt. It's broken. And I'm not really want to be part of it, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did it. And I'm the kind of guy I don't really quit. I'm not a quitter. Once I start something, I kind of try to see it all the way through. And so law school is one of those things. It's like, all right, well, I'm through the first year. Most people leave by now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick it out and see how it goes. And it was the hardest thing I ever did, man. You know, for sure, education wise. But I learned a fuck ton, and you know,
so
I'm glad I have that.
So how'd you get into coding then and developing websites?
Well, that's funny because in high school, again, you're talking to a true certified geek, my friend. In high school, I was bored in classes and stuff because I was a pretty smart kid, and you know what they were teaching was like I'm past that, you know. And so I would take like study halls in the computer lab, and I would go when GeoCities. Back when GeoCities was a thing, Sonny. When GeoCities was a thing, you had to learn how to code. There was no other way. There wasn't a nice shiny website like Facebook to play on. You had to
like
code
Squarespace
your own. Yeah, right. You had to code your own. So I had to learn HTML coding. I had to learn it to be able to do what I wanted to do and start making my own websites and stuff. This is in the 90s, you know. It was just something that appealed to me, and I got very fucking lucky that I learned that stuff because I still know it to this day. I know how to code a website.
Yeah,
backwards and forwards, up and down, inside out.
I might have to pick your brain about that one of these days because I took a coding course when I was going for graphic design. Like we used what the fuck was the name of the program? It's one from Adobe.
Dreamweaver.
What was it?
Dreamweaver.
It might have been Dreamweaver, actually.
Yeah, that's the only Adobe HTML program.
Yep. There was an older one though. It began with an M.
Oh yeah, yeah, maybe.
That was the one I used, and then I went over to Dreamweaver. But yeah, that course was a nightmare for me.
It's really like learning another language.
Yeah,
it really is. But see, I could, there are certain things I look up now, to make my life easier. Like if I'm going to do a table, there's a resource that's like free HTML testing where you can test out your code before you do it. And I'll go there and I'll like write out all what I need and hit test just to make sure it looks kind of right before I put it live on my site. It just makes it easier for me. But like any normal, like a link, a backlink, like if I need to make a hyperlink, I know that code front and back. If I want to source an image, I know that code. If I want to source audio, I know that code. I had to do that for OFNR for so many years. Video, any of that, embedding, all that stuff. So I'm really glad, you know. And then the other half of that is growing up, I was always around computers, and my buddy, one of my best friends, still one of my best friends to this day. We called him the Paladin on OFNR. He is a computer genius and was always around computers. So anytime I ever had an issue, he would show me, enough to the fact that I actually was in IT for 5 or 6 years with Brian Riley from Continuum. He was my boss. Yeah. Let me tell you, that is a great boss to have. That dude definitely instilled in me to not give a flying fuck about like just do what's necessary. Like, you know what I mean? It's not about feelings, just get it done.
Yeah.
He is an awesome cat. That band is fucking incredible. If you have not checked out Continuum, check out continuummetal.com. And
I did a video for them a while back, tag team with Kevin Freer on that one, because when I was trying to do the lyric part of the video, my fucking laptop crashed, and I had to reinstall everything. So I had all the footage that I recorded at Cherry Street from the Continuum show, and then I was like, Kev, I need your help. I'll pay you X, Y, and Z if you can. Here's the footage. Here's the lyrics. Can you get it done for me? So.
Yeah, man, I hear that pain. My server, the OFNR server, the one that I was using to run the station, finally died not that long ago, and my son's like, Dad, how did it die? I'm like, that thing has been on 24/7 since 2003. It's like 7 years that thing has been on and running, and actually doing something for 7. Like, you know, he's like, oh. Okay, I get it. Understand why it's dead. Like, that thing is dead. It's done. Can't you fix it? It's like, no, it's had its life. It needs to be put to rest.
Just like the station, it's done. Like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's time to move.
Was it kind of like cathartic, or like, you know, like,
well, you know,
what's the word? You know what I mean?
You had the word exactly right. I told my wife, if F and radio was still running, I would have been fucking freaking out. I would have been pulling my hair out like, oh, fuck, what do I do? Brian, I need a new server tomorrow. Like, so it wasn't a big deal. The only thing I was using it for was like to remote in if I needed to do like a Photoshop for myself. I never used my work's computer to do that. That's, you know what I mean? So I'll remote into my computer to do that. So that's saved on my computer. So if I need to go back to it later, it's not on my work computer. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's on my work computer. It's on my computer. You know? So
that's another thing too. You're an awesome graphic designer too.
Thank you, man.
You've done some amazing posters and flyers for bands.
Really wish I was, but there are some guys out there that are, dude. Check out Son of a Saint. I'm gonna totally give him a shameless plug. Holy fuck balls, dude. That guy is insane what he does. Yeah. Kevin Freer, you said him earlier.
Oh yeah,
that dude is fucking insane what he does.
Yeah,
I'm a good designer.
I was his Padawan for a long time, so
I'm a good designer, but I'm not a great artist.
Yeah,
like I can't create from scratch. I have a really hard time with that because I'm not patient. I have no patience.
I like using references. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, because I've been actually, you know, trying to broaden my when we went into lockdown or quarantine or whatever. I wanted to make sure I had some things to keep myself occupied. And one of those things was I went out and bought myself a Wacom tablet so that I can draw on my computer. And I started taking free online courses on how to fucking do this. I didn't get very far, and I didn't apply myself. Yeah, I love that. Dude, I love it. I fucking love it. Especially if you get the settings just right.
$60 on Amazon.
Yep. I went and got mine at Best Buy. This is way before the lockdown. Yeah.
Yeah, I got mine way before the lockdown too.
But yeah, man, you know, I like being able to do things quickly, and so the drawing thing, it takes so much patience and effort and time.
Yeah.
and you really have to want to do it. You really have to want it really badly, and I don't.
Yeah, oh, I hear you. I hear you, dude. Some of those fan art portraits that I've done, like the Deadpool one, that took me like 12 hours, man.
Yeah.
Captain America, just about as much as that one too.
So you know, and it's one of those things where I still fuck with it. I still draw and I doodle and I fuck around, but I know I'm not gonna be making comics anytime soon. You know.
Yeah.
So my whole goal really for that was just to make sure that if I do a design for someone like a flyer, I can go in and customize it more than I would be able to with my mouse. Yeah. And actually go in and kind of draw through like, oh, okay, I can make here's a flame. You know, a mouse is like, oh, Jesus. Fucking
yeah. Yep. No, I
mouse drawing sucks, but
yeah.
That again, I learned Photoshop on my own. I never took a course. I should have done that instead of law school.
I did the same thing.
I love it.
I did like a lot of like online tutorials for a while, and learned that way. And same thing with video editing. But then I attended the Art Institute online, and I got to learn a lot more. Granted, I wish I learned more, but unfortunately, school closed before I graduate, which was bullshit. But anyway.
That's a whole other fucking story.
Oh my god, like I'm so done with school. Like right now, I'm at a point.
Brother.
I'm at a point in my life right now where it's like, okay, I went for graphic design. I've been applying to places. I've been like my resume is good. My portfolio is pretty damn good. I mean, like it's nowhere near Kevin's, but I mean it's good. And I've just been applying, and I'm constantly getting denied, man. Like I've been working for this vape shop part-time for almost 2 years now as their lead graphic designer. I did their website. I do all their sales signs. I did all their fucking labels for their house juice and got them up to FDA requirements and everything. Like I did all that, and all that's, you know, on my resume and on my portfolio. And, you know, I even have, references from there and everything. I got like testimonials on my resume from people I've worked with. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like nobody wants to take a chance. Like I don't want to be in manufacturing for the rest of my life. You know?
Yeah, well, you know, it's not even so much that they don't want to take a chance. It's about the saturation of the market and the fact that, you know what, we can all be great. There's always somebody just that much better. And some of that shit is like, holy fuck. And you know what? Because I do the same thing, bro. I've been doing, you know, all my jobs, graphic design, you know, stuff that went up into the railroad stations. I did all that signage. They put up billboards. I did all that signage. And like, for me, that's like, dude, there's a billboard. I did that. Like, that's cool. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? But if I went to leave there to go get another graphic job, they're like, yeah, you made a billboard. And what? Like, this guy made 50 of those yesterday, like just yesterday. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So, you know.
You're right. I mean, like, I got to count my blessings because I got a good paying job right now. You know what I mean? And like, you know, granted, exactly. It's not the hours that I want to work because I'm technically a night shift person. I'm on days right now for another week because my supervisor's been out on leave because him and his wife had their first baby. So he's been out for almost a month now. But he's coming back, but then I'm going to be going back to nights. But anyway, like I would rather just work like days and like be all right instead of working till 1 a.m, you know?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I have no life working nights. So.
Yeah, well, you know what? Right now, maybe it's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I should count my blessings. Not a lot of people are working.
I know. There's so many people out of work in places that, you know, we might lose because of it, you know. And God forbid. But anyway, let me go back really quick because we were talking about XCI and when I was music director. There's a lot of little parts here. My first job ever was a record store. That's what I worked. That's what I did. I wound up becoming the manager there. It was way before FYE was FYE, but the parent company, Transworld Entertainment, owned Record Town, and then they started buying up Coconuts and all these other places. But all through the 90s, that's what I did. I was a record store guy. You know, customers would come in and hum 2 bars of a song. I'm like, this is what you want. Here's the disc. Like, you want to also buy this, this, and this. Like, because that's, you know. And people would be lined up outside on a Tuesday waiting for the new release. Like that seriously happened. I was there. Like we would open the gate and people would be like, online. What the fuck? What are you doing here? It's like fucking 7 a.m. I need that new release, man. Okay. All right, dude. Let's do it then. But so anyway, my whole life has been surrounded by music. And when I got to college my first year, I was like, man, I really want to get on the radio so bad. And they have a radio station here, and I need to get in And so when I became a regular DJ, and their music director left, and they're like, "We don't have a music director." I was like, "I'll do it. I'll do it. Please let me do it. Oh, I want to do it. I love music." And And so for a year, I got to be music director, and I got to meet the promotions guy from Atlantic Records, the promotions guy from Interscope Records, the promotions guy from like all these great records. And by coincidence, the promotions guy, A&R dude from Atlantic Records, was the brother of one of the guys that I worked with at the record store.
Oh shit.
So he was constantly like, "Hey, I've got tickets to Kid Rock. You want to come down to see Kid Rock tonight?" Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, yeah, Gary. I absolutely want to. Come on down, hit the tee. Dude, we went backstage. He's like, come back. I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is crazy. So sure enough, brings me backstage. Bob, this is Bob. Bob. And he's like, "Oh, thanks for playing the record on the station, man, getting us spins on on the CMJ, Current Music Journal. You're helping us get to the next level. We're this close to fucking making it to, FM and getting off college and shit." And dude, it was crazy. I walk in, there's fucking ham all over the wall. Just random, like lunch meat.
Yeah.
Just fucking everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
Fucking rock stars, man.
Rock stars, bro. So anyway, I'm a teenager, and I had some flats from work, which are the little squares that you go if you went into a record store. They had little squares that would promote an album up on the wall, so that you can new releases would come out, and the representatives from A&M or wherever would come out and put up new signage. So I had a couple of those flats from Kid Rock, and I was like, all right, I got to get everybody to sign this. Because I don't fucking So I didn't have a pen, a marker, nothing. Gary's laughing at me. So I look over to my right to my left, and there's a dude standing there. He's like a rock and roll looking dude. And I'm like, "Dude, you got a marker?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem. Here you go." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Can everybody sign it? Everybody sign it." I was like, "Here's your marker back. Thanks so much." He leaves. Uncle Crack comes over to me. He's like, "Hey, you know who that was?" I'm like, "No, who was that?" "Oh, that was Vinny from fucking Sponge, you dumbass." Oh, fuck me. I totally didn't. I didn't ask him for a signature. Didn't recognize it was fucking Vinny from Sponge. I'm like, "You motherfuck, I'm an idiot," But dude, it was crazy. That time of my life is so insane, bro, because I would go to so many crazy fucking parties and the Interscope party. Not that I met anybody there, but it was just cool to be like, wow, here are all these like big representatives who are looking for new talent, signing new guys. Like, I'm right here in the middle of it. Like, fucking insane, bro. It was crazy. Insane. It was insane.
You still talk to anybody?
Every now and again I'll hit up Gary and just say what's up and see how he's doing and make sure everything's cool. But it's been a while. But it's crazy because like every week I'd have to get on the phone with these representatives and let them know how their records are doing. Oh yeah, we moved this song from heavy rotation to light rotation. Do you have a new single that we can play? Because we've been playing this one for 6 months. Or they'll call, "Hey, I'll send you this." I'll send us, we got these new, uncle dolls that are this big or whatever. I'll send you one. Nobody has them. I'll send you one if you put the record from medium rotation to heavy rotation for the next 2 weeks so we can get the CMJ spins. Oh, all right, sure. Send me this. I'm like, you ever seen a mail, like where you put mail, like a mail, big mail fucking thing? Like one of those white bins that you put mail in? Every fucking week I would go home with a bin full of discs, CDs that I'd have to go through. Okay, this one's no good. This is never getting on the air. This is no good. Oh, this is a great record. That's going to my collection. This one, like, it was insanity, bro. It was totally insanity. And I'm so fortunate to have those experiences, and I appreciate and I thank guys like Gary Gorman and John Linden who, let me go to these cool shows and events and stuff. But it made me, why I wanted to continue, do the OFNR thing is I've always loved music. Man, that's the one constant I've ever had in my life. I was a musician for a while. I'm a fucking horrible musician, but in the 90s I had a band. Actual is that we put out. It was just me and my buddy. It was a folk rock band. Like, people would be like, "Folk rock? I thought you were a metalhead." Yeah, but it's not. There's a couple songs on there that I think are are all right.
Yeah.
You know, but I realized I wasn't a very good musician. But while being a musician, I also learned the audio side of things, how to record and finagle a fucking Tascam 4-track
Yeah.
and make it have 8 tracks, or, you know, whatever I needed to do to bump tracks to make, you know. And so, like, I already had like a little home studio when we started OFNR, and it just became way bigger. OFNR became an animal. It's a whole different fucking. It was a lifestyle, you know.
Yeah. No, and I remember when you had us over when the garage was up and running,
Fuck.
when we were still doing the League of Extraordinary Frontmen, which I started spinning on this podcast. We did
I
an
saw.
episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
I'm doing the first 2 episodes, and then we're gonna get back into uploading for about a month, and then I think I'm gonna upload 1 old episode a month after that,
Cool.
just so I could take like a break and like,
Sure, yeah.
you know what I mean? But we're eventually going to get to the OFNR times that we're there doing the Nerd Jeopardy stuff. That was a lot of fun, man. That was so much fun. What was the first one we did? Was it both Star Wars, or was it one was just
One was Star Wars and one was like just geekdom.
okay? That's right.
I think we
And
did the Star Wars one first, and then we did the geek one second.
I just
Or maybe
remember
we did it the other way around. I don't really honestly remember.
I just remember Scotty and Grip. I think it was the Star Wars one where they both came in last, and they were like 2 of the biggest like Star Wars guys next to Kevin.
Yeah.
And Kevin came in first. I think I came in second, and Jeannie came in third, and we were just like, "Holy shit!" Like, I was laughing so hard.
Those shows, especially and then the Family Feud, the Continuum Cyperna Family Feud. Holy crap, dude! Those shows are what I dreamt of my entire time of building OFNR. Like, I
Yeah.
wanted that kind of stuff so bad, and I would do that again any day of the week, you know, because it's just so much fun. It's a lot of work to put together a game show, especially. It's a lot of work because you got to set it all up, make sure it all works. And there was even a couple fuck ups in there, and you know, it's work, you know. But it was so much, dude. The payoff is so much fun. You know? You work for 16 hours and for a 3-hour show, you know.
Yeah.
You do it right.
Oh man, that was so much fun back in the day.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous. The amount of shit that I did with OFNR is insanity. It's insanity, dude. And the amount of awesome bands and awesome people and great places and that I've met in the 11 years that I did it, dude, unbelievable. You know, I've seen some of the greatest local bands ever. And some of these bands blow away anything that's being played on regular or even satellite radio.
I have to
some
agree.
of this stuff became like, what? Oh,
So, you know, you had to close your doors a few years back.
for the station, yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
the
we did.
station. And you just went over to just doing like still helping bands out and stuff, doing like posters.
Sure.
And designs
Yeah,
and
you
stuff
know,
like that.
media is something I'm gonna always do. I'm
Yeah.
into it. You know, when you hit me up and like, hey, but Knob, I need, you know, some help with an intro. I'm like, oh, really? For me? Yeah, like, all right, cool, dude.
Yeah,
You know,
you did do our intro for the league and for the Nerd News happy hour, which is the other
so it's
podcast.
like, you know, those kind of things, they make me happy, and it makes me feel like, okay, I still have those skills. And, you know, I can't stop. I just can't. I'm not nearly as adamant about listening to new music because I'll tell you, it's really hard to find new music if you're not actively like seeking it out.
Especially now more than ever.
Now more than ever. But yeah, I can't. My wife even said, yeah, you can shut the station down, but you can't stop doing OFNR because you are OFNR. Like, it'll never stop. Even if you didn't call it OFNR, it'd still be OFNR.
I mean, she is right, because the first thing I think of every time I talk to you is OFNR. You know what I mean?
And for anybody out there who's wondering what the fuck is OFNR, it stands for Official Fucking New Radio. Just so we're clear.
Yeah, you can also check them out on YouTube. Check out all the past Indie 180s and
oh yeah, there's
all
a
that
ton of stuff up there. Indie 180s are up there. Music videos that I've done with Chris Keys and Continuum and Eyes of Dead.
I gotta give you.
There's a bunch of cool shit.
I gotta give you another special shout out to a few years back when I got jumped in that parking lot at Cook's Cafe by the name who will not be mentioned. You were there. You were the first one there after everything went down, and I was assaulted by 3 guys. You were there. You stayed with me until the cops came and arrested those 3 guys. So I wanted to thank you again personally for being.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude! You know that, bro.
Yeah, it was. And if you want to hear if you want to hear how it all went down, go back and listen to Indy 180. I forget which episode it was, but I think it was one of them. I think it was. I'll leave a link in the description below when this episode airs. You can listen to that whole episode. It was you and Brian Almeida, who was again a previous guest on the show. And I called in and we talked about it and what happened. And you know,
and that was something a lot of people I think appreciated. It was OFNR was always up front. I never fucking bullshitted nobody. I always told you exactly what you were gonna get, exactly what I was gonna deliver, and if I said I was gonna be at your show, 9 times out of 10, I was at your show. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not just you, but I'm just saying anyone. Yeah. If I told them, yeah, OFNR is gonna be there, I made it a point to be there.
Hell, you even came down and helped me judge a karaoke contest one time at Diamond Littles.
Sure.
I was like, oh, shit, I need another judge. And you're like, oh, I'll come down. I'm like, sweet.
I'm right down the road.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And OFNR was fun, man. It was a lot. There's so many memories there that we would need a whole nother show just to talk about it. But the highlights,
maybe that's what you can do for a podcast. They have all these rewatch shows now. You know what I mean?
I actually have in my collection a Behind the Effin'. I actually have all the DJs up to a certain point talking about their experiences and stuff. I actually have all that already.
You should totally post that, man.
Yeah, it's it's weird. It's just a matter of finding places and making sure, because when we were doing it in the radio station, I would use signed music on certain shows. Like Thursday Night Chaos, for instance, we played signed music. We did play independents too, but we played a lot of signed music. I can't just post that to YouTube.
No,
you know what I mean? That's a copyright infringement.
Exactly.
I'm not about to do. So you gotta be very careful what you post.
No, yeah, exactly. I got flagged for posting some Final Fantasy on YouTube, for the music that was in the game. Like I had nothing to do with it. A
lot of times you'll get flagged and they won't actually give you a demerit. But you gotta be very careful, because some copyright infringements, they will absolutely demerit your account and then you won't be able to post videos.
Exactly. So I just stopped. I just stream now. But anyway, was there anything?
Yeah, I got a new project that will be coming out here sometime. I don't have a definitive date. I'm putting the finishing touches on the brand new Eyes of the Dead video. For those of you who have not seen the trailer, go watch it on their YouTube. It's ridiculous and hysterical and has absolutely fuck all to do with the music video that's coming out. And I think that's hysterical.
I watched that trailer and I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Well,
it made no goddamn sense whatsoever, but it was hilarious.
When you watch the music video, you may come away from the music video going, what the fuck did I just watch? This project we've been working on this project since November. And we had all principal photography and shooting done way before COVID hit. I've personally put in way over 300 hours into this project.
That's insane. Insane for a music video.
In editing and filming. And so there are things in there where I went in and frame by frame edited with Photoshop specifically for a specific purpose to make it a certain way. I would go in there and do 12 frames and just go in there and in 12 frames.
You're fucking nuts, dude.
I'm a mental patient.
Oh my God. You're so fucking nuts.
And the video.
Get Premiere. Cool. You have Premiere? Like you could do some of that stuff in Premiere.
Oh, I know. Dude, there's so many linear editing things, but it was necessary. It was necessary.
I'll have to see it. I'll probably understand.
I wanted to make sure that it was a certain way, and Photoshop was the way I knew best to do it. Only because I use Photoshop.
I think you're the only person I've ever met that used Photoshop within. Well, I mean, I can't say that because I've used images inside of Photoshop, but they actually take 12 frames and individually edit it like that.
Well, no, it's like a GIF. It's just like if you when you load in a movie, if you import a movie into Photoshop, it imports it just like a GIF and will run your little animation bar.
Yeah.
Frame, 1 frame, 2 frame, 3 frame, 4. If I want to put something in there, specifically, then yeah, I'm gonna do it that way because it's only 12 frames.
Yeah.
That's 12. It's not really that.
Yeah.
And I only did it, a handful of times. It's not like the whole video is that way.
All right. I was gonna say, if it was for the whole video, you're fucking crazy.
No, there's parts that it was, for me, it was necessary because you know what it was as I was editing, I did it on one part of the video and I'm like, fuck, I got to do this now to the rest of the video. I have to do this now to the rest, because if I don't, I'm going to be mad at myself and I'm going to go, that's not good enough. That fucking product is not OFNR worthy.
I hear you.
I went back and I fucking fixed all the fucking, and so I'm actually just putting on the finishing touches. They finally got the final mix of the song, all produced and all that. So I got to get that in there. There's some trimming and editing, last minute things to put on. And then I'm going to send it over to the guys maybe this weekend. And hopefully you guys will see it soon. Eyes of Dead, Connecticut, of course. Eyes of Dead, check them out. Awesome guys. They were so much fun to hang out with and really insane to work with. It's very insane to work with, just in the sense that it's 4 very distinct individuals in that band, and they fuck with me because that's the way it is, because they're all chaos.
Well, if nobody fucks with you, then yeah.
And the chaos rule is, if you got a chaos shirt, you can talk shit about any chaos member and they cannot be upset. They can only talk shit back. It's still rules. The OFNR might be gone, FM radio might be gone, but chaos still rules.
All right, so I think that's gonna do it.
Man.
I literally was gonna pick the next topic, but you literally just flowed right into every single topic that I was gonna get into. So, I mean, pretty much nailed everything. Was there anything you wanted to plug besides the Eyes of the Dead video? Anything?
Yeah, actually, I want to plug Bull Spike Radio. Actually, it's 2 brothers from New York. They both have muscular dystrophy. They run an internet radio station just like Official FM Radio. They've been doing it now 10 years. When they first started, I was introduced to Turbo through the music scene. This band called Odd Zero from New York, the singer made it a point to introduce me to him because here's 2 like-minded individuals. You guys should know each other. And as soon as I met Turbo, I was like, well, this is a guy I need to fucking be friends with and learn from, because, he goes to more metal shows than you and I go to combined, and he's in a wheelchair. What's your excuse? Anyway,
yeah.
So when they first started, he came to me and was like, well, how do I do this? And being in the internet radio business, I could have totally just said, fuck you. I'm not helping you. Why should I help you? You're competition. I never did. I was like, yeah, well, dude, this is how you do it. And then, in 2013, Live 365 went out of business because the royalty rates went so ridiculous that they had no choice. And Bull Spike Radio was in jeopardy of going off the air. And I was like, that's not happening. I'm not allowing this to happen. I don't care what I have to do. So I helped them move from one to another and then back again when, shit hit the fan with the other licensing company who will remain nameless because they don't need the plug. But, yeah, I couldn't not help them, and I can't not help them, and I can't not support them, and everyone else should support them. Bullspikeradio.com. They're great dudes. TurboRules.com. Awesome. Just, dude, I thank them for letting us have a couple shows on their airwaves while we were in quarantine. I was getting antsy, and I was like, man, it'd be fun to do a radio show. And Turbo was like, my airwaves are your airwaves, my friend. I was like, you sure about that? I'm going to do chaos. Can you put a disclaimer? I'll put a disclaimer. But other than that, man, no, I don't really have anything to plug. Obviously, Alternative Control, Cherry Street, Cook's Cafe. These are places that you should know and love anyway.
Yeah, and you should be
supporting those places, and John and Tip Jar and anything else. I'm sure they appreciate that stuff. Cherry Street especially, that is a place that we cannot by any means allow to go any place, because that is the mecca of fucking Connecticut metal. We need that place. That is our home. So
yeah, it really is. It's like one of the very, very last venues that supports original music, no covers. So,
dude, I appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun here.
I appreciate you being on. I'm just gonna throw some show plugs real quick, and then we're gonna end the episode. So, if you guys want to check out the podcast, head over to YouTube. check out the Roads We've Traveled podcast on YouTube. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and the bell icon. Get notified every time we drop a new video. If you guys want to listen to us on Spotify, on Apple, on Google, or wherever you guys get your podcasts from. We're pretty much available on all the major podcast networks. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Roads We've Traveled podcast. Stay up to date with everything going on with the podcast. Tell your friends and all that other stuff too. It really helps support the show. If you want to email us, like we said earlier, email us at roadswe'vetraveledpodcast@gmail.com. Get me your stories. How you guys are doing during this pandemic. What are you guys doing to get through it? Or if you just need to reach out and talk to somebody, hit me up. I'd be happy to read your emails and give you advice over the podcast. You can check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/JRBuckleGaming, where my good friend Nob, a.k.a. Bob, and his lovely wife have joined me on numerous games. We've played a lot of Cards Against Humanity together. We've played some Jackbox. We're actually going to play some Jackbox tomorrow night. I did get the Party Pack 4. Thank you for the heads up by that, by the way. We're gonna try some games out tomorrow night. So be sure to check that out.
We look forward to that, man. We look forward to that every week because it gives us something that we actually get to socialize while staying safe.
Exactly. And you can also check out my portfolio at www.alanmpelletierjr.com if you guys want some commission work done, whether it's a portrait, a logo design, or you need a lyric video, or you're a gamer and you've got gaming content you want to get out, let me know. I'm a video editor just like my friend Nob here, unless you want to hit up Nob. We're both video editors and we're both pretty good at Photoshop. So
yeah, exactly.
You're a lot better than me, but
well, look, it's all about amount of time at anything, right? 10,000 hours and become an expert.
But if you need a website, definitely hit up Nob. So
I can help you with that for sure. Hit up OFNR Studios on Facebook, on YouTube. I think that's the only two places. Oh, on Twitter. Yeah, we're on Twitter too.
You got a website too, right?
No, I don't have a website. I figure, that these are expenses that you don't need if you're not. I wasn't using it for anything.
Gotcha.
The only reason I ever had a website was to stream FM radio. So once that shut down, I was like, well, I'm not getting any work from this. I'm getting work from word of mouth and from people. I do most of my work through Facebook. And to be honest, somebody messages me, "Hey, I need a flyer." Okay.
There you go.
An hour later, here's a flyer.
OFNR Studios on Facebook. If you guys need a website or a flyer or whatever, definitely hit up.
Video or audio or graphics or you need any of that stuff. You want to learn how to stream, I can help you do that. Audio streaming, how to set up an internet radio station legally, and all that stuff. So
awesome.
Just don't ask me for legal advice. I cannot give you legal advice. I'm not an attorney.
No, this was awesome, man, and thank you for
thanks, bro.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Well, I'll have to get you back on again soon, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow night playing some Jackbox with you and the missus.
Yeah, for sure. We should do a round table one night and get a couple people together.
I'm totally down for that.
About something crazy,
I'm totally down for that. I'm trying to get guys from the league on here. I've already had Scotty.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I've already had Scotty on here, and I've got to get Grip on next. I'm going to try to get Kevin. Kevin is so busy right now these days, but one of these days. But
shout out to Doug for mentioning OFNR and for mentioning that he had a good time doing Citizens Informed. I thought that was really cool.
And those are also episodes that you can check out on OFNR and on their YouTube channel. And
check out our YouTube. Watch something. Subscribe. New stuff always. Well, not always, but soon.
All right, now thank you very much, man.
Take it easy, brother. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Peace.